The story is titled, I Found My Wife's Burner Phone with 347 Messages to My Brother. I stayed silent for 2 months, sold the house, and they both got the eviction notice on their anniversary. I knew something was off the second I heard the buzz. It was this faint, ugly vibration under the laundry basket in the back of my truck. It was a Tuesday, around 9 p.m. I had just finished a late HVAC call and was unloading some stuff in the driveway. My actual phone was in my pocket. This sound was coming from somewhere else. My name's Ethan, 35 years old, male, married to Lauren, 33 years old, female, and my younger brother is Matt, 32 years old, male. That's the cast. We'll get to the crimes. At first, I thought I'd grabbed one of Lauren's old phones by mistake while hauling boxes that morning. She's the sentimental type, keeps broken chargers and empty candle jars for a project. So I dig under the laundry basket and there it is. A cheap little black Android I've never seen before, face down, still vibrating. My stomach did that weird elevator drop thing. Lauren has an iPhone, has had an iPhone since I met her. This thing looked like it came free with a burner email address. I picked it up and just stared at it for a second, arguing with myself. Normal people don't snoop. Healthy marriages have trust. All the Instagram therapist quotes in Lauren's stories were suddenly screaming in my head. But then I remembered the last few months. Her working late even though she's a dental hygienist and the office closes at 5. The sudden full-face makeup to run errands. The way she started keeping her real phone on silent, upside down, screen locked, passcode changed. The way she flinched when Matt's name came up on the TV during a football game and then laughed it off like I imagined it. I thumbed the power button. No lock screen, no wallpaper, just a dead basic home screen and a red notification bubble on, messages, 347. My heart actually skipped, not in a romantic way, in a, this is the moment your life splits into before and after way. I tapped it. The first thing I saw was my brother's name at the top of the thread. Not Matt, though. Some cutesy nickname Lauren gave him years ago as a joke that suddenly didn't feel like a joke anymore. And then the messages. Walls of them. 2 months worth, timestamps from when she was at yoga, with Cassie, too tired for sex, falling asleep, babe. My hands were shaking so bad I had to lean against the side of the truck. I could hear myself breathing, loud and ugly, in the quiet cul-de-sac. The worst part? Before I even started scrolling, a thought popped into my head that made me feel sick. Don't confront. Not yet. You only get one shot at this. I don't even remember deciding to scroll. 1 second I was staring at the little red 347 like it was a bomb timer. The next my thumb was just moving. The first messages were stupid flirty, inside jokes, memes, stuff about me. Ethan still doing those 12-hour shifts just to prove something? From Matt. I told you he lives to play hero. From Lauren. At least it gives us time together. Time together. I felt this weird heat crawl up my neck. I scrolled faster. Buried between the jokes were more intimate ones. The kind of messages you send when you think no one will ever see them. Her talking about how lonely she is. Him telling her she deserves to feel chosen. Her saying she wished she'd met him first. I hit a picture and actually flinched like I'd been slapped. It was from our bedroom. My side of the bed in the background, my nightstand, my stupid alarm clock. Only it wasn't me in the frame with her. I had to set the phone down on the truck bed before I threw up. For context, Matt's not just my brother. He's the kid I shared a bunk bed with, the teenager I covered for when he got caught sneaking out, the adult whose DUI fines I helped pay. When Dad died, we carried the casket together. When he got laid off, I got him a job at the same HVAC company. I've always been the fixer, the one who shows up. Lauren knew all of that. That history was part of what attracted her to me, she said. You're loyal to the bone, she told me once, tracing my wedding band with her finger. Apparently loyal doesn't mean shit if people decide they're bored. Somewhere in the middle of the thread, I saw the shift. The dates lined up with when she started going to yoga twice a week. There were messages like, parked 2 streets over, don't worry, he'll never notice, from Matt. Her saying, we have to be more careful, he's not stupid. Every line was like someone driving a nail into my chest. I realized I was gripping the phone so hard my knuckles were white. For a second, I wanted to storm into the house, throw the burner at the wall, wake her up and scream until the neighbors called the cops. I imagined dragging Matt out by his shirt the next time he showed up for Sunday dinner and knocking his teeth out on the driveway. But under all that rage was this cold, sharp little voice. If you explode now, they'll just cry, deny, twist it. You'll be the crazy one. You'll lose any power you have. I took a long, shaky breath, slid the burner into my toolbox under a pile of wrenches, closed the lid. I walked into the house like nothing happened, kissed Lauren on the forehead where she was asleep on the couch, TV still on. Her phone, her real one, was on the coffee table face down. Long day? She mumbled. Yeah, I said, hearing my own voice from far away. Just tired. That was the first lie. The first of a lot. Update. Wow, I did not expect this to blow up. I posted the first part just to get it off my chest and woke up to a wall of comments ranging from divorce yesterday to bury them in the backyard. For the record, I did not commit any felonies. To answer the biggest question, yes, I kept my mouth shut. For 2 months. I played dumb, gathered everything, and talked to a lawyer. And as of last week, the house everyone thinks is ours legally belongs to someone else. Their anniversary is in 3 days. That's when the eviction notice hits. The week before their anniversary was when it stopped feeling like my life and started feeling like I was playing a role in someone else's. I had a countdown on my phone. Not labeled doomsday or eviction or anything dramatic, just a calendar reminder with a neutral title. But every time I woke up, my eyes went straight to that little number. 7 days, 6, 5. Lauren was wired and all over the place. One night, she was curled against me on the couch, tracing circles on my arm, talking about how we should do something special this year. We've been through so much. The next night, she was hurling a ceramic mug into the sink so hard it shattered because I forgot to defrost chicken. I watched her meltdown like I was behind glass. She screamed that I never listened, that she felt invisible, that maybe I didn't even want her anymore. At one point, she jabbed a finger into my chest so hard I stumbled back into the counter. This is what I get for settling down with a robot, she snapped, eyes glossy. You don't feel anything, Ethan. Nothing. If only she knew. Later that week, I saw the burner again. I came home early from a job, walked past her car, and there it was in the cup holder, half shoved under a receipt from our favorite taco place. Careless, comfortable. I sat in the driver's seat with the door cracked so the dome light wouldn't come on and scrolled the new messages. They were talking about their plans around the anniversary. Lauren telling Matt she'd sneak away after the nice dinner I was obviously planning, mocking me for being predictable. Matt whining that he was sick of hiding, that she should just tell him it's over already. I actually laughed, this short, ugly sound in the silence of the garage. You want out so bad? Cool. I'll open the door for you. I texted Lauren later that night from the couch, her in the shower. Hey, thinking of taking a big job on our anniversary day. Overtime pay. Can we celebrate at night instead? She texted back a minute later. Sure, babe, we'll make it work. I could practically hear Matt celebrating through the walls. 2 days before the anniversary, I signed the lease on a small one-bedroom apartment across town. Cheap carpet, beige walls, ugly ceiling fan. It smelled like fresh paint and dust. I brought in the last of my boxes, tools, clothes, the shoebox with Dad's watch and funeral program, and set them in the middle of the empty living room. No wedding photos, no Lauren. Back at the house, the walls were starting to look naked. I'd pre-packed for painting, taking down most of the frames. The cracked wedding photo she'd shattered in that meltdown? I put it back up on the wall with the cracked glass still in it. Every time I walked past it, it felt like the house was already telling the truth. The night before the anniversary, she picked a fight out of nowhere because I wasn't excited enough. She shoved my shoulder hard when I tried to walk away. When I didn't take the bait, she stormed out to the driveway, yanked open my truck, and started tossing my tools onto the concrete, screaming about how I care more about these stupid wrenches than her. A neighbor stepped outside. I just quietly picked up my tools one by one while she ranted. I didn't even look at her. That seemed to scare her more than if I'd yelled back. She went inside, slamming doors. The next morning, the actual day, I got up before her. I showered, shaved, put on my work uniform like any other day. I left my wedding ring on the bathroom sink, right where she'd see it. Then I walked through each empty room one last time, locked the front door behind me, and drove away from the house I already knew wasn't ours anymore. Their anniversary had officially begun. I didn't go to work on our anniversary. I put on my uniform, kissed Lauren on the cheek while she slept, grabbed my keys like any other day, and drove straight to my new apartment instead. I sat on the floor in the middle of the empty living room with a folding chair and a cheap card table, watching the light crawl across beige walls. My phone buzzed around 10 a.m. It was the new owner, Rick, 61 years old, male. Posting the notice now. Happy you're getting out of there, man. Then a picture. The photo hit harder than I expected. My old front door. The wreath Lauren made last fall still hanging there, faded ribbon and all. And taped right over the middle of it, like a target, was the eviction notice. Big block letters. Notice to vacate. Date stamped, their anniversary. I zoomed in until the text blurred. To current occupants, you are required to vacate the premises within 30 days. All very standard, very legal, very cold. My hands were trembling, but not from regret. It was like my nervous system suddenly realized this was real. A few minutes later, my ring notification popped up. I'd almost forgotten about it. Lauren always insisted on the doorbell camera. For safety. Joke's on her, she never bothered to change the shared login. Motion detected, front door. I opened the live feed. Matt's truck was parked at the curb. Of course. He'd taken the day off to help a friend move, according to the schedule at work. I watched him walk up the driveway like he owned it. Hoodie up, head down. Lauren opened the door before he could knock, still in one of my old t-shirts, pulling him inside for a kiss that made my stomach flip. Then she noticed the paper. I could see her body go rigid even from the crappy camera angle. She pulled the notice off the wreath, skimmed it, then looked around like it was some kind of prank. She shoved it at Matt. He read it, face tightening, then read it again slower. The sound didn't come through for a second, and then suddenly it did, and it was just chaos pouring out of my phone. "What the hell is this?" Lauren shrieked. "No, no, no, this has to be wrong." Matt kept saying, "It's a mistake. It has to be a mistake. Did you miss a mortgage payment?" His voice was high, panicked, not the smug, chosen one I'd been reading in those texts. Lauren stormed inside, still clutching the notice. The feed cut off. 30 seconds later, my phone lit up with her name. I let it ring. Once, twice, 3 times. She called again and again, switching between calls and frantic texts. "Call me right now. Something's wrong with the house." Ethan answered the phone. "Did you do something with the bank?" On the 7th call, I picked up. "Hey," I said, calm, too calm. "What did you do?" she screamed. I could hear things banging in the background, drawers slamming. "We just got a vacate notice, Ethan. They're saying the house got sold? Tell me this is some kind of sick joke." I took a breath, looked around my little empty apartment. "It's not a joke, Lauren." "What does that even mean? You can't just sell the house without telling me. That's illegal, right?" Matt should probably sit down," I cut in. "You too." There was a beat of silence on her end. "How do you know he's here?" she whispered. I let that hang between us for a second. "I know a lot of things," I said. "Like where you keep your burner phone, like how long you've been sneaking him into my house, like exactly how many messages you two sent calling me clueless while you screwed in my bed." Something crashed, loud, glass shattering. In my head, it was the cracked wedding photo finally giving up and hitting the floor. "You went through my stuff?" she stammered, voice suddenly tiny and furious at the same time. "You spying psycho, you can't just—" "I sold my house," I said, voice flat. "The one in my name. That I paid for. You and your boyfriend have 30 days to get out." The line went dead quiet except for her ragged breathing. "That's not funny," she said finally. "You can't do this to me." "Oh, I already did," I said, and hung up. Update 2. Yes, I really sold the house. No, I'm not going back. All right, so apparently I broke a few brains with the last part. Half of you are like king behavior, and the other half are convinced I committed 7 felonies and emotionally waterboarded my cheating wife and brother. So let me clear some stuff up and then I'll tell you how hard this blew up. First, legal side. The house was in my name only, purchased with money I inherited from my dad. No kids. Separate bank accounts. Lauren's never paid a cent toward the mortgage directly, only household stuff from her own account, which my lawyer said doesn't magically turn her into a co-owner. Carla, my lawyer, triple-checked everything. I didn't forge her signature. I didn't steal her identity. I didn't do any weird backdoor stuff. I sold my asset. Could I have told her first? Sure. Could she have not slept with my brother in my house? Also sure. Second, the spying. I didn't hack anything. The burner had no passcode. The Ring doorbell is something we both installed and both had access to. If you leave a secret phone in someone's truck and make out on a shared security camera, that's not me being CIA, that's you being lazy. Now the fallout. When I hung up on Lauren after dropping the I know everything bomb, my phone lit up like Times Square. She went from screaming to sobbing in under 3 minutes. Voicemails alternating between, "You can't just abandon me, Ethan, I have nowhere to go," and "I will ruin you if you do this, you have no idea who you're messing with." Matt texted me too. First it was, "Bro, let's just talk about this like adults." Then 10 minutes later, "You're seriously going to make her homeless over some messages?" Some messages. Right. I blocked them both. That lasted about 4 hours, because then Lauren found out where I moved. I don't know if she dug through my glove box, stalked my location history, or sweet-talked somebody at my job. But I was sitting in my new apartment that night eating takeout on the floor when someone started pounding on my door like they were trying to break it down. It was her. Mascara streaked, hair wild, still in my t-shirt. She was screaming loud enough that the guy in the next unit cracked his door open. She kicked my door. Actually kicked it. At one point she tried the handle and threw her shoulder into it so hard I thought she'd injure herself. I called the non-emergency police line. Some of y'all in the comments were like, "Burn the house down and egg their cars forever." I didn't do that, but watching her get told by an officer that she had no right to be in my apartment, hearing her shriek, "This is my husband," while the cop calmly said, "Ma'am, he says you need to leave." Not going to lie. That was something. I'll write out the full blow-by-blow next, but headline, she did not go quietly, my truck did not survive unscathed, and Matt said something on my front lawn that I will never forgive. And no, I'm still not going back. When I say Lauren lost it at my apartment door, I don't mean raised her voice. I mean full-on banshee. She was kicking the door so hard the frame rattled. "Open this door, Ethan. You think you can just sell my house and run away?" Every few seconds there was this hollow bang as she hit it with her fist or shoulder. I stood in the kitchen, phone to my ear, giving my address to the dispatcher while my heart hammered. Part of me wanted to open the door just to make it stop. The other part pictured her clawing my face off and screaming abuse loud enough for the whole complex to hear. Then I heard the sound that made me move to the window. Metal on metal, she had gone quiet. That was worse. I peeked through the blinds. She was standing next to my truck in the parking lot, keys in her hand, dragging them down the length of the driver's side like she was slicing through skin. Her face was twisted, jaw clenched. She carved in big, shaky letters, "Liar." The word looked so stupidly backwards I almost laughed. I wasn't the one sneaking around. Then she picked up a loose chunk of concrete from the landscaping border and hurled it at the windshield. The glass spiderwebbed, catching the streetlight in a way that made it look like frozen lightning. I stepped outside just as a neighbor, Jordan, 29 years old, male, was filming from his doorway. Lauren spun on me, hair wild, mascara smeared. "There he is!" she screamed, pointing like she'd just spotted a war criminal. "Tell him what a monster he is. He left me and stole my house." I opened my mouth, but she was already closing the distance, jabbing her finger into my chest hard enough to sting. "You think you're so clever," she hissed. "You think people are going to side with you when they find out you abandoned your wife?" I didn't get to answer because the squad car rolled up, lights flashing but no siren. 2 officers stepped out. One of them asked, "Who lives here?" "I do," I said. "She doesn't. She followed me here and destroyed my vehicle." Lauren spun on them instantly, tears on. "You don't understand. He's my husband. He's having some kind of breakdown. He sold our house. He's dangerous. I'm just trying to talk to him." "Ma'am, do you live here?" the officer asked. She hesitated just long enough. "He's my husband," she repeated, like that was a magic spell. "We're having a marital dispute." The officer looked at me. I held up my phone with the ring clip, paused on her kissing mat in my doorway, and then read out my new lease address. "I moved out. We're separating." She keyed my truck and threw a rock at it. "I want her off the property." They separated us. While they were talking to her, another truck rolled up way too fast, tires squealing. Matt. He got out already angry, chest puffed, marching across the grass. You did not call the cops on her, he snapped, getting right in my face. His breath smelled like cheap energy drink. What the hell is wrong with you? I could feel this violent urge rise up in me, hot and blinding. One shove from him, and I wanted to break his nose. Instead, I stepped back, hands up. Touch me, and you're the one in cuffs, Matt. He laughed, this ugly, bitter sound. There he is, Ethan the martyr. You know what? Dad would be embarrassed watching you right now. No wonder Lauren came to me. At least I know how to make her feel something. That line hit harder than the rock in my windshield. For a second, everything went white around the edges. I didn't swing. The officer stepped between us, hand on his chest. Sir, back up, now. Lauren started crying harder, screaming at the cops that they were breaking up a family. They ended up walking her and Matt back to their truck, warning them about trespassing and vandalism charges. I stood in the parking lot under the streetlight, staring at my ruined windshield, the word liar gouged into the paint, thinking, cool, now the outside finally matches the inside. The day after the parking lot circus, I woke up to my phone buzzing nonstop. First was a text from Jordan, my neighbor. Figured you might need this if she keeps acting crazy. He'd sent me the full video. Lauren keying my truck, throwing the rock, screaming about how I stole her house. Matt rolling up like he was storming the gates of heaven. I watched it twice. The word liar carved into my door, her face twisted with rage, me standing there under the flashing lights looking weirdly calm. I forwarded everything to Carla with a simple, if they escalate, I want this on record. Then I filed a police report for the vandalism. Not because I wanted her in cuffs, but because I wanted a paper trail. She loved using chaos as a weapon. I needed reality on my side. Work was next-level awkward. Matt showed up late, sunglasses on indoors, jaw clenched. He wouldn't look at me. 10 minutes into the shift, our boss called us both into the office. There on his monitor? Jordan's video paused on Lauren mid-scream. Either of you want to explain why company trucks and uniforms are in the background of this domestic mess? He asked. Matt started talking over me immediately. He's going nuclear over a separation, man. He called the cops on my girlfriend. My wife, I said, who keyed my truck and tried to kick in my door after cheating on me. With him. I slid my phone across the desk. Screenshots, texts, the eviction notice with the date circled. The boss went quiet as he swiped through. When he finally looked up, he sighed. Ethan, take the week. Figure your life out. Matt straightened like he expected backup. I can't have someone who shows up on a viral video screaming in a parking lot in uniform, then lies about it, the boss finished. Turn in your keys. We're done. Matt lost it. Shoved his chair back so hard it hit the wall. You're firing me over him? Over his fragile ego? He swung his glare back to me. You ruined my relationship, my home, my job. What's next, man? You want to take my whole life? You did that yourself, I said quietly. He lunged like he was going to hit me, but the boss stepped between us. Out, he said. Now. Watching my brother walk out of the place I got him hired at, slamming the door so hard the blinds shook. It wasn't satisfying exactly. It just felt inevitable. A few days later, I drove out to see my mom, Diane, 62 years old, female. I brought a folder, printed screenshots, the police report. I thought I'd be shaking, but I was weirdly numb. I laid everything on her kitchen table and just let her read. She covered her mouth a couple times. Tears hit the I wish I'd met you first message. When she got to the bedroom pictures, she pushed the papers away like they burned. My boys, she whispered. Then softer. No, you are my son. I don't know who that man is anymore. She promised she wouldn't take sides publicly, but I saw it in her face. Something broke. Not between me and her. Between her and Matt. Move-out day was the last chapter. Rick texted to say he'd be there doing a walkthrough if I wanted to grab any stray mail. I almost didn't go, but curiosity won. The house looked wrong with their stuff half in boxes. Bare walls, dirt outlines where furniture used to be. The cracked wedding photo sat on the counter. Glass finally gone, frame empty. Lauren froze when she saw me in the doorway. Matt was hauling a box, eyes dead. You happy? She spat, voice raw. You destroyed everything. For what? Some texts? I walked past her, grabbed a small stack of leftover mail, and set a manila envelope on the counter. Inside were the divorce papers Carla drafted, plus a neat stack of the worst messages I'd printed. On top, I placed the empty wedding frame. Consider this notice too, I said. I'll sign when you do. She flipped the envelope open, eyes scanning, and then she snapped. She crumpled the top page, threw it at me, then grabbed the frame and hurled it against the wall. It shattered, the backing popping off, the whole thing sliding to the floor in a pile. You don't get to end this, she screamed. We could have worked through it. It was a mistake. It didn't mean anything. It meant enough to risk everything I gave you, I said. So now I'm taking back what's mine. And we're done. Matt muttered, Let it go, Lauren, without looking at me. For once, he sounded tired instead of defiant. I left without slamming the door. Now, months later, my truck's fixed. But if you catch the light just right, you can still see faint scars where Liar used to be. I leave them there. A reminder. The house isn't mine anymore. Neither is she. Neither is the version of my brother I grew up with. But the peace I feel when I lock my apartment door, drop my keys in the bowl, and know every phone in that place is mine, that's the sweetest revenge I could have asked for.